morning. Now to Washington, where President Obama has unveiled the most comprehensive program of gun control in a generation. Almost exactly a month since the Newtown shooting that killed 20 primary school children, he's promised to introduce criminal background checks for all gun sales, a ban on military-style assault weapons, and tougher laws on trafficking. But he acknowledged he faces a tough battle with Congress and an all-out war with the mighty gun industry lobby, as our Washington correspondent Matt Frei now reports.
The American presidency has been defined by gun violence. The first family lives and moves behind a bulletproof shield that has grown thicker with every presidential assassination. There have been 4 in the country's history, all of them caused by guns fired by Americans. So far, any action on gun control has been the result of violence against the nation's most powerful. But today was all about protecting the nation's most vulnerable. The children at the White House had all written letters urging the president to take action. But the children that started all this were the ones that couldn't be here, like 7-year-old Grace McDonald, gunned down in Newtown, represented today by her grieving parents.
She dreamed of becoming a painter. Her father gave me one of her paintings, and I hung it in my private study just off the Oval Office. And every time I look at that painting, I think about Grace. And I think about the life that she lived and the life that lay ahead of her. And most of all, I think about how, when it comes to protecting the most vulnerable among us, we must act now.
That means a number of practical measures.
A lot of people buy these guns just to play with them.
Do you sell many of those? Or?
Oh, yes, sir.
Smaller magazines with fewer bullets for guns like this. Universal background checks for anyone who wants to buy one, even at one of the country's many gun shows. And in the president's ideal world, severe restrictions on the civilian sale of weapons designed for the battlefield. Common sense to some, the heavy hand of government to others.
The only way we can change is if the American people demand it. If parents and teachers, police officers and pastors, if responsible gun owners, if Americans of every background stand up and say, enough. We've suffered too much pain and care too much about our children to allow this to continue, then change will come.
The president is using the impressive infrastructure of his re-election to mobilize support and children to make the emotional case. But so are the other side.
Are the president's kids more important than yours?
Obama's children and their special protection. This is the latest ad broadcast by the NRA, one of America's most powerful lobby groups with solid support in Congress. No one doubts the emotional clout of the Newtown parents, and surely no one was left unaffected by the Newtown massacre. And yet even the White House concedes that getting an assault weapons ban passed here on Capitol Hill would be well nigh impossible, because so many Republicans and quite a few Democrats are opposed to it and are afraid of upsetting their gun-loving constituents.
We've got to try.
But it might get defeated.
Well, sometimes it's worth the fight. Even if at the end you don't succeed, you establish the principle and you move forward. I think to concede up front that it's a tough political fight would not be appropriate in the context, particularly of what happened in Newtown.
With children and the nation as his witness, the president signed a whole raft of executive orders today about gun control. But even with this emotive issue, his powers are limited and the political battle will be fierce. Matt Frei, Channel 4 News, Washington.
Well, we're joined now from Washington by Larry Ward. He's a consultant for several conservative groups and is organising a National Gun Appreciation Day this Saturday to protest against any attempt at gun control. But, Larry Ward, there are 1 or 2 things the president said with which I have no doubt you will deeply agree.
Which is?
Protecting children, background criminal checks on people buying guns.
We have absolutely, matter of fact, one of our mayors, Mayor Bloomberg, has started a group called Mayors Against Gun Violence. And I will say to that if you poll every single NRA member, it'll come back 100% that every one of them are against gun violence. That's not what this is about. I heard your last report say that Americans love their guns. No, we love our liberty. We love our freedom that the guns give us.
Well, a terrific freedom, isn't it, when it comes to using an automatic weapon or anything else on killing innocent civilian Americans?
Well, you know, if you look at the number of deaths from automatic weapons or from rifles, there are more deaths from hammers and clubs in the United States than there are from automatic weapons and rifles. So, you know, to look at the numbers honestly, you know, you figure out that that's not really the problem, and that's not what the president is after. He is after our handguns. He is after our ability to defend ourselves in our homes.
No, he's after automatic weapons. There's no mention of banning handguns at all.
Dianne Feinstein's bill calls for handguns that are semi-automatic weapons.
That's absolutely untrue. There is nothing in the president's recommendations that is about banning handguns.
The president said he supported the outline of Dianne Feinstein's bill, which outlined handguns, semi-automatic handguns, which are the majority of handguns sold in the country today.
Okay, well, let's cut to the quick, because the truth is you lot are on the run. You people are in trouble. You lost a lot of Senate seats and congressional seats. You're losing traction, and now you've even got to try and get a demonstration going on Saturday for the appreciation of the gun. That sounds like somebody who's in a very weak position.
No, I disagree. I think what we're going to find out on Saturday, this Saturday, Gun Appreciation Day, is you're going to see, you know, your grandmother or the baker, an accountant, your neighbor, your brother, your sister. They're gun owners in this country. The people who own guns, 80 million of us, you know, do so responsibly.
So just in a word, how many do you need to see to be justified? How many people out there? How many million?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How many million do you want on that demo to justify your case?
I'd like to see, you know, as many Americans that feel strongly
Okay,
about
but you
the
won't
Second
put a
Amendment
number on
as
it.
I do.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Larry Ward. Good talking to you. We'll be watching on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Kathy.